nothing, and somehow this ended up becoming one of the most entertaining things I've done in Steal a Brainrot. Today I'm spending 24 straight hours inside the brand new trading plaza, and the goal is simple. Walk in with what I've already got, avoid getting absolutely fleeced by every self-proclaimed businessman in the server, and see whether it's possible to trade my way into something ridiculous without ever leaving this place. The funny thing is, the trading plaza sounds peaceful when you first hear about it. You picture players politely walking up to each other, making fair offers, shaking virtual hands, and everybody walks away happy. That illusion lasted about 8 seconds. The moment I loaded in, the entire lobby looked like the Roblox equivalent of a stock exchange after someone accidentally announced free money. Booths everywhere, players jumping up and down trying to grab attention, chat messages flying across my screen faster than I could read them, people yelling that they had the best deals, people yelling that somebody else was scamming, somebody insisting their legendary was somehow worth 4 secrets because it had sentimental value, which isn't exactly how trading values work, but I admire the confidence. The new trading plaza is honestly one of the smartest additions they've made, because instead of chasing players around the map, hoping somebody stops moving long enough to answer a trade request, everyone is here for one reason: trading. Every booth has players displaying whatever they're most proud of. Some people are showing off collections that honestly look like museums. Others have one decent Brainrot and are trying to convince everyone it's worth the entire server. Then you've got the people standing there completely motionless, probably waiting for someone to overpay while they're making lunch in real life. It creates this strange atmosphere where every few seconds you think you've found the greatest deal ever, only to realize the other player somehow values their item like it personally defeated every boss in the game. Before I even thought about making trades, I spent some time walking around checking every booth, because information is everything in a place like this. If everybody's asking for 3 mythics in exchange for 1 legendary, congratulations. You've learned absolutely nothing except these people are optimistic. But after enough laps around the plaza, patterns start appearing. Certain Brainrots show up constantly. Others barely exist. Every time one of those ultra-rare ones appeared, people instantly crowded around the booth like someone had parked a Lamborghini in the middle of a grocery store. That's where the new exist count feature becomes surprisingly useful. Instead of blindly guessing how rare something is, you can actually see how many copies exist across the game. Suddenly a trade isn't based entirely on somebody screaming, "Bro, trust me, it's rare." Now there's at least some information backing up those claims. Of course, that doesn't stop people from trying anyway. I watched one guy spend 5 straight minutes explaining why his collection deserved double value, because every single Brainrot had good vibes. Good vibes. That's apparently an economic indicator now. Within the first hour, I'd already received several trade requests, and every single one followed the exact same pattern. They'd put something into the trade window. I'd put something into the trade window. They'd remove their item. I'd sit there wondering if they accidentally misclicked. Then, they'd add something dramatically worse while staring directly into my soul through their Roblox avatar, waiting to see if I somehow accepted. Nice try. I'm not speedrunning bankruptcy today. One player offered me something that looked like they found it behind a virtual dumpster and acted offended when I declined. Another tried adding and removing items so quickly, the trade window looked like it was buffering. I'm convinced some traders believe confusion is a strategy. If they click fast enough, maybe your brain shuts off and your finger accidentally accepts. Not happening. My inventory survived this long. It's surviving today, too. Eventually, I found a booth displaying something I'd been looking for. Finally. The owner looked serious, too. No jumping around, no spamming chat, no giant sign saying best deals ever. Those are usually red flags anyway. I sent the trade request, put together what I thought was a respectable offer, and waited. The trade window stayed open for what felt like an eternity. They removed one item, added another, removed it again, added something completely different. I felt like I was watching somebody solve a math equation in real time. Finally, they hit accept. I stared at the confirmation screen longer than necessary because every successful trade feels like you're signing a mortgage. One wrong click and suddenly you're explaining to your future self why you exchanged something valuable for what amounts to digital pocket lint. I accepted. Success. My first trade inside the new trading plaza actually worked. And somehow neither of us immediately regretted it. That's a rare achievement by itself. The funny part is once you complete one successful trade, your confidence skyrockets for absolutely no reason. Suddenly I was walking around like I'd mastered economics after completing exactly one transaction. This lasted until the next player politely demonstrated I had absolutely no idea what I was doing. They requested a trade, showed me an inventory that looked expensive enough to require insurance, and somehow convinced me to spend several minutes debating values I wasn't even sure existed. That's another thing about this place. Half the game becomes psychology. People aren't only trading brainrots, they're trading confidence. Whoever sounds more certain somehow makes their items feel more valuable. You'll hear someone confidently explain why an item is impossible to find while 3 identical copies are standing 15 feet away. Nobody questions it. Everybody nods like they're attending a business seminar. As more players joined the server, the trading plaza somehow became even louder. Every booth attracted crowds. Chat became unreadable. Trade requests appeared every few seconds. Some players genuinely wanted fair exchanges. Others clearly woke up that morning with one mission: finding the most overpowered deal imaginable before somebody noticed. Honestly, I respect the hustle, but you're going to have to find somebody whose brain isn't functioning, because today I'm paying attention. At least I'm trying to. After staring at item values for this long, everything starts blending together. You begin second-guessing trades that would have seemed obvious an hour earlier. Suddenly you're asking yourself whether keeping an item because it looks cool is worth more than upgrading your inventory. That's when I realized this challenge wasn't going to be about getting rich. It was going to be about surviving 24 hours inside the most chaotic negotiation simulator Roblox has ever produced, without losing my sanity before the halfway mark. If you're enjoying the video so far, hit that like button, subscribe if you're new, and let me know down in the comments what the best trade you've ever made in Steal a Brainrot was. Because after spending this much time in the trading plaza, I've learned one thing. Somebody out there has definitely robbed another player blind without either of them realizing it until 5 minutes later. Anyway, let's keep this 24-hour experiment rolling, because things are only getting weirder from here. After my first successful trade, I started paying less attention to the actual brainrots and more attention to the people behind the trades. Every single player had their own style. There were the collectors who only wanted extremely rare pieces and wouldn't even acknowledge anything below a certain rarity. There were bargain hunters who somehow appeared the exact second a valuable item showed up, almost like they had some sixth sense for profitable trades. Then there were the gamblers. You know the type. They'll throw half their inventory into the trade window, remove everything, add it back again, throw in another item, take 2 out, stare at you for 30 seconds, then cancel the trade anyway. I don't know if they're negotiating or solving a Rubik's Cube in their head. At one point, I swear I spent longer inside one trade window than I've spent completing entire Roblox games. The funniest part is everyone acts like they're running billion-dollar companies. Somebody walks up with 3 average brainrots, and suddenly they're giving me a TED talk about market value. Another player starts explaining why their item is technically priceless because there are only a handful left in circulation. I appreciate the enthusiasm, but we're still talking about cartoon creatures inside a Roblox game. Then again, after sitting here for several hours, I caught myself doing the exact same thing. I was zooming in on items, checking the exist count, comparing demand, trying to remember which brainrots people kept asking for earlier. Congratulations, I've accidentally become one of them. The trading plaza doesn't simply let you trade. It slowly transforms you into someone who starts analyzing virtual supply and demand, like you're presenting quarterly earnings to investors. Somewhere along the way, I realized I hadn't left the plaza once. Players kept coming and going, inventories kept changing, and somehow every hour felt completely different from the last. One server would be packed with people showing off incredibly rare brainrots, while the next felt like everyone collectively agreed to trade nothing but commons. Every fresh server reset the economy in a weird way. New opportunities showed up. New players arrived with inventories I'd never seen before. Every time someone equipped something flashy, half the plaza instantly surrounded them. It looked less like trading and more like wildlife photographers spotting a rare animal. Of course, with valuable items comes an endless stream of ambitious offers. I watched one player receive about 15 trade requests in less than a minute. They didn't even have time to walk between booths before another notification popped up. Honestly, I don't blame everyone for trying. If somebody's carrying one of the rarest brainrots in the game, everybody wants to be the person who somehow convinces them to make the worst financial decision of their Roblox career. Watching negotiations unfold became entertainment by itself. You'd see 2 players standing completely still for nearly a minute. No chat messages, no movement, just silent trading. Suddenly one accepts, the other declines. Both walk away in opposite directions like 2 detectives leaving a crime scene. Nobody speaks, nobody explains anything. The mystery lives on forever. Did somebody ask for too much? Did someone remove an item at the last second? We'll never know. Meanwhile, another booth looked like complete chaos. 5 people crowded around one trader while everyone spammed requests faster than the game could process them. Somehow, the booth owner remained perfectly calm. They accepted one request, declined another, completed a trade, then immediately listed something even rarer. It was honestly impressive. They were operating like a professional dealership, while the rest of us looked like confused shoppers during a holiday sale. After a while, I started recognizing familiar names. Apparently, some people spend a ridiculous amount of time inside this plaza every single day. They knew prices. They knew demand. They knew exactly which brainrots people overpaid for. Trading against them felt like playing chess against someone who's already thinking 6 moves ahead. I tried bluffing once by pretending I wasn't interested in an item. I closed the trade window, walked away dramatically, waited a few seconds, then came back hoping they'd lower their expectations. They didn't. Instead, they'd already traded it to somebody else. That's when I realized hesitation is expensive here. Good deals don't sit around waiting for you to make up your mind. If something genuinely fair appears, somebody else is already halfway through accepting it. That realization completely changed how I approached the rest of the challenge. Instead of overthinking every tiny decision, I started focusing on whether a trade genuinely improved my inventory instead of chasing impossible wins. Funny enough, that's when everything started going smoother. A couple of trades later, I noticed my inventory looked noticeably stronger than when I first entered the trading plaza. Nothing absolutely insane yet, but steady progress felt a lot better than gambling everything on one gigantic trade that could completely backfire. Then came one of the strangest interactions of the entire challenge. A player walked up, opened a trade, placed an incredibly valuable Brainrot into the window, and didn't ask for anything specific. They simply waited. Naturally, I assumed there was some kind of catch, because that's how the internet works. Nobody casually hands over expensive items without expecting something ridiculous in return. I started building an offer piece by piece. Every time I added something, they nodded. Every time I removed something, they shook their character. Somehow we developed an entire negotiation system without typing a single word. Eventually we reached an agreement that somehow felt fair for both of us, and the trade actually went through. No tricks, no last-second swaps, no bait and switch. It almost felt suspiciously wholesome. Honestly, moments like that are what make the new trading plaza fun. Sure, you'll run into people trying to squeeze every bit of value out of every trade, but you'll also meet players who simply enjoy collecting, helping others, or making deals that leave everyone happy. Those interactions balance out the chaos, and by this point, I was only scratching the surface of what 24 hours inside this place had in store. The longer I stayed, the more ridiculous the trades became, and I had a feeling the second half of this challenge was going to test every ounce of patience I had left.